Hey, how you doing? Today I want to talk about two specific things about my experience with living in Tijuana. One is the reason I left, and two is the one thing I wish I knew before I moved to Tijuana. The first one is let's talk about the reason I moved to Tijuana. I'm a surfer, so it turned out that I like the beach and like the waves and all that stuff, and Mexico offers a pretty good surfing experience. That being said, that was the reason I eventually, pulled the trigger and moved to Tijuana. Um, as you may have already noticed, it is quite a bit cheaper. So, I was able to save a few bucks, but, the main experience was the surfing. The thing I really wish I knew before I moved was, the longer you go and you move to Mexico, the more you become a foreigner in your own country when you're going to move back. This is something you really need to pay attention to because, um, it was very hard to, then turn around as you're planning to move to Tijuana, then turn around and plan to move back to the United States, where to move, seeing places, coordinating those type of things while you're over the line. I mean, crossing the line, which is, my second point um, in this video, is, very frustrating experience. Excuse me. You can actually end up in a situation where you can tack on several hours, trying to maybe, see an apartment, or say you're not trying to move to San Diego per se. You can end up traveling in the United States, being a traveler, and enduring heavy costs. I would say I liked Tijuana fine enough. I don't really want to go on that. I really want to go into the line. The line is a huge factor when it comes to living in Tijuana. If the line could ever get to a point where it is reasonably predictable and easy to cross, I think Tijuana will come a long ways. But the line was ultimately the reason why I ended up leaving. It was very stressful. I don't know that it would be, even got to a point where I was kind of like, what way do I want to go? Do I want to drive? Do I want to cross? Do I want to walk? How long is it going to be? Checking online, updating feeds like on Facebook and stuff like that, made, trying to predict the line, a little more helpful. But, at the end of the day, it was just kind of very tough to get over the line, get to where you wanted to go. The transportation is very good from the line, but coordinating and then trying to get all that going, and then you know trying to figure out predict it type thing, and coordinate your job is a very big task, and I think it really ends most people's experience in Tijuana. And back to my first point, the thing is what I feel like people don't think about when they go to one is, it is it is eventually going to end, right? So when you take and consider that, um, you need to factor that into some of the savings. I did save quite a bit of money in Tijuana, but that initially was kind of from the time I spent in Tijuana. When I initially got there, I spent the most amount of money, and then from tips and stuff from friends and people I met down there was which was allowed me to get to take full advantage of the savings that Tijuana really was is offers you. So that being said, those are the two real big factors that I feel like anybody looking at moving to Tijuana should consider. Another thing to consider would be the crossing at Otay Mesa. Sorry, I'm not real good with some of the Spanish names or whatever, but that is degrees of better. But its access is restricted based on where you live in the city. Now, if you plan to live in over there, that part of the city or that part of Tijuana, obviously it'd be the go-to way to cross. But parking on the other side has been increasingly, driven up and stuff like that because of the the line times and the crossing. Unfortunately, there's been some articles and stuff written from them saying that they were trying to improve on the crossing times, but I feel like the abuses that people are taking on the line cutting, students and stuff like that at the wrong time. I mean, there are people that are equally trying to get through and go to work, and this is a huge issue as you go into an hour plus waiting, and then finally crossing stuff like that can be very frustrating. So, excuse me, those are the main factors that really led to me, leaving and not continuing in Tijuana. You know, I did enjoy the food and everything, so I probably would maybe still be in Tijuana, but who knows? I hope that helps in your decision making, and I do hope you enjoy. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like up. It helps me out. Thank you much. Bye bye.